COVID-19 has you down, or you need some more cleanliness in your life, please check out our proud sponsor Psycho Soaps at their Etsy site, www.etsy.com/shop/psychosoaps. I repeat, www.etsy.com/shop/psychosoaps. Horror-themed soaps, anything you need over there, from crazy to cute, anything you absolutely need.
Children of the night, what music they make.
Tear your soul apart.
Here's Johnny.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
If you just put the gun to your forehead and pull the trigger.
You left the planet and you only moved the headstone! You only moved the headstone!
Alright, everybody, welcome back. I'm Ricky Mortis.
And I'm Boris Lagosa.
And this is With the Dead and Life podcast. We decided to do a newer movie, Boris's pick, and we decided to do Nicolas Cage's movie, Mandy. Go ahead, get the facts.
Mandy, starring Nicolas Cage, and I'll get the name of the young lady in a second here.
Fucking amateur moves over here.
Amateur moves.
Get your shit together, man.
You're absolutely correct. I'm sorry. It stars Nicolas Cage and Andrea Riseborough, who plays the title name of the film. This film was made in 2018. It was directed by Panos Cosmatos and Casper Kelly, and I will give you box and budget information. It's estimated at I guess this is the truth, $6 million budget. It only pulled in $225,723.
So they got let down just like we did.
But but see, this is actually, I apologize, that was the opening weekend. The actual gross was, they did make $1,214,525, but it's almost $5 million less than what it cost to make the movie, so it would be an adjunct failure to most people.
Yeah, for sure.
First thing I want to get into is the star. Nicolas Cage, trying to do horror. He did 2004's The Wicker Man.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was 2004 or 2006.
Never seen it.
But I know there's a lot of memes online about Nicolas Cage yelling nonstop in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Nicolas Cage is a phenomenal actor, but let me tell you, this movie was not for Nicolas Cage.
No.
That's the first complaint I have. Mandy starts off with this secluded couple.
Yeah.
Recluse couple, mm-hmm. Mandy and Red.
Mm-hmm.
Who, mind their business. Red is a logger, I believe, and Mandy works at the gas station in town,
mm-hmm.
or in this secluded area. When they were kidnapped by an evil, I guess you'd call them, they were like freaks. They're like this religious cult.
Yeah, it's some kind of satanic cult. They said they're Christian based, but they're not. They're definitely
They're definitely out for evil, yeah. So Jeremiah is this crazy cult leader,
mm-hmm.
who they kidnap Nicolas Cage's character Red and Andrea Riseborough's character Mandy. We'll run through the story and we'll give you our thoughts here. Mandy, they get kidnapped. First, they take Mandy, this old lady who's this main cult leader, I guess you'd call her, in this movie. They take Mandy and they sting her with this big giant bug.
Wasp, yeah.
They give her LSD as well.
Yeah.
Which I have never partaked in any psychedelics, but this movie was just a trip.
Yeah, I feel like you're on acid the entire time. Like the whole movie, you feel like you're on acid. Mm-hmm. Except for when Nicolas Cage's character finally goes on his rampage. Because even in parts of that, you feel like you're on acid.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
This movie also had Richard Braken, who was famous for the movie 31, the main bad guy in Rob Zombie's 31.
I have to see it. I have it at my
house.
right now.
I watched it. You gotta
watch
pick up on that. I gotta keep Rig in line here.
Yeah.
But going on, Mandy, is pretty much Red and Mandy's kept separate from each other. Mandy ends up being killed by the cult.
They burned
her alive
in front of Nicolas Cage's character.
Right, and that scene was a very I wouldn't say graphic, but it was real.
Yeah, it's
real.
They do like the. Well, let's just finish it up real quick, and then we'll go back to all these.
We'll go back to our thoughts and what we believe, what the
yeah.
symbolism of the film was.
Yeah.
Mandy's killed, so you got a pissed off Nicolas Cage. The one of my favorite scenes in that movie, though, is when Nicolas Cage goes into the bathroom and he pulls out that bottle of alcohol.
Oh yeah.
And he just chugs it and he's screaming, and you
Yeah,
recognize
yeah,
the
yeah.
agony and the pain he's in from his love of his life being murdered.
Yeah. Plus, it also has they gagged him, and tied him up with barbed wire.
And they also stabbed him.
Yeah, and stabbed. They pretty much like do it like they tie him almost like he's
it's like a ritualistic stabbing.
Yeah, it's almost like he's this Jesus character, or he's supposed to be like
a sacrifice.
And there's a line in the movie too, where was it Jonas? What was the guy's name? Jeremiah. Jeremiah's like the mistake. The mistake that Jesus made was he didn't have a blood sacrifice, some kind of thing, which he did. He had to sacrifice himself, but like he does this thing where he stabs him in the side, just like how Jesus was. He binds him with like barbed wire instead of like thorn vines or whatever.
Right.
Like
right.
it's like almost like that kind of symbolism. Like he's like their sacrifice, and then burn her. And oh no, it's pretty crazy. But go ahead.
But anyway, moving on, he becomes this vigilante out for justice.
Yeah.
And he kills them off one by one.
Yeah.
You know, destroys the cult. You have one thing I will say before we give each of our individual thoughts about this film. One thing I will say is the symbolism. Like, the scenery in this film, you think about it, if you can look down into it, it was kind of beautiful.
Yeah, it definitely has. I feel like it's the movie to me, man. Well, let me sum up real quick. So, yeah, he goes and he pretty much kills everybody off except for the one girl that was in the cult. I'm not sure why he left her.
The youngest one.
Because I feel like almost like she really wasn't. She was almost like a hostage.
He almost. This is kind of like in a way, this is kind of like Kevin Smith's movie Red State when he tried to dip into horror.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever seen that film.
I didn't. I only seen Tusk. Is only all that horror film. Or he did the other one, something Hosers.
Yoga Hosers. Off track, we apologize, but don't fucking get me started on Yoga Hosers.
I didn't see that one either.
That's for another time and day.
Yeah.
But anyway, Uncle Boris will move on here.
Yeah. So, let me take over. So anyway, so they pretty much he goes and kills everybody off, and then of course, which is kind of it's crazy because one thing we forgot to talk about is this crazy biker gang. They're
right.
They're like, what are they? What the fuck are they? They're a biker gang.
They're like pagans or whatever.
But they're almost like monsters.
Yeah.
Like they don't show them.
They're like almost like
mutants. But it's so crazy because they literally start killing with the biggest, baddest looking one, and then they work their way back, almost like, they have one guy, the one random dude that works for the cult. He's like he gives him the longest run for his money, or the biggest run for his money. They had the whole chainsaw fight. Remember the chainsaw fight?
Yeah.
And then they have but then he finally gets to Jeremiah, and Jeremiah is cries like a little bitch before he gets killed. And then of course it kills Jeremiah at the end, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. But his whole movie starts off. It's almost like it's like an art project. Like someone's like, listen,
art house.
It's exactly art house. It's like, oh, listen, what let's make a very visually beautiful film, and while we're tripping on acid.
Let's make a Pink Floyd music video with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's exactly the vibe I get, because they have this thing where. There's actually a scene when they try to get Mandy to join the cult, and of course she doesn't, and she laughs in her face, and that's why she gets killed.
Of course, I apologize, I forgot that scene.
Yeah, but anyway, so when they give her the acid, there's this whole trippy scene where Jeremiah's speaking to her, and they're almost like nose to nose, and while the camera looks at him, his face morphs into her, and her face morphs. You know, I was like,
That was a
this,
trippy scene.
There was a really trippy scene, like, you know, but that scene makes sense. You know, so this whole thing is they have this guy who works to their cult, right? And then there's these people that no one knows about, but they're like they're the bad people. They're like the Lost Boys. They show up in their fucking they don't ride motorcycles. They show up in like 4-wheelers, you know. So here comes the Lost Boys, aka Lost Boys. If the Lost Boys met up with like Judas Priest, and they had like a fucking orgy in the woods, that's what this group is. It's like fucked up, but like that's who they are. But they're like they just like when every time they show up, it's like everything's red. You know, so they're in the woods. They're definitely some type of like entity of where the hell they are, but they're some kind of biker gang, but none of them speak or they don't really have faces. You just the one that was like covered in spikes. They're a bad motherfucking group, and they show up. They have to summon them. So this cult, you know, there's this cult, and they also work in this guy that has a lab where he mixes acid. And he helps. He makes the acid that everyone pretty much takes to rejoin this cult. But they get one member. They have to give one member up. So that's the whole thing. It's almost like a blood for blood. Body for body, blood for blood. That's exactly what this whole cult thing is. So this cult. Listen, we're taking Mandy. I saw her. She's walking home from work one day, and they drive by in their van. And they see her.
Yeah.
And Jeremiah is like he has to have her. She's everything he wants. Like she's a cute girl. She's like a little, she's got like dyed black hair. And it takes place in the 80s, and she has like a pentagram shirt on. I think it might be like a figure band shirt she has on. But like he drives by and sees her.
Oh, it's Motley Crue.
That's what it was. It has the pentagram on it. He's like, that one right there. I have to have her. And of course, every cult has their blubbering idiot, which ends up being that fat guy with the curly hair. That's what they call. So they say, okay, listen, he'll be the sacrifice. So what they do is they drink this liquid, which is part of this liquid acid or whatever this one guy creates.
So LSD, pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty much LSD. So they drink this stuff, which they kind of see with their third eye, and they go, okay, listen, we're going to Mandy's house. We know where she lives at. We've watched her. There's one guy. He's the right hand man. There's a woman. She's kind of better because she wants to be the right hand man of Jeremiah, but it's really the other guy. You know what I mean? So they go. He sends him to go get Mandy. He drinks the acid, and he has some type of it's almost like a horn, right? It's like an actual horn that you play music from. It summons this group, this biker gang, and it's almost like they ride 4-wheelers like right out of hell. Cause everything turns red. They show up, and he tells them in his like fucking Lord Krulo's voice, like blood for blood, So they're like, okay, sure, and they point at the fat guy, So
right.
They go in there, they beat the shit out of Nicolas Cage's character. They steal Mandy, and there's a scene where like you see the fat guy, he's like, almost like he's like falling backwards to a hole. You see him go, oh! They pull his ass in. And, he's the sacrifice. So they sacrifice the fat guy so they can have Mandy. They beat the shit out of Nicolas Cage, leave him for dead. We ends up surviving, tie him up and stuff, and then take Mandy. So then, fast forward a little bit. Mandy, they try to get her to join the cult. The one girl, she gives her the LSD and everything, gives her the bee sting. They kind of paralyze her, and she denies it. So what we're gonna do? Like they're pissed off. They did all this work, and now they're not going to have her because she's going to deny them. And it's almost like it's like welcoming thing. Or like you have a vampire, you can't come to your house unless they welcome you in. It's almost like they want her to join, and she's denying them. Now he's pissed off. So what's he do? Puts Mandy in a bag, takes him to Nicolas Cage, wakes Nicolas Cage up, and they burn her alive in front of him. And this whole beautiful, pretty beautiful, horrifically beautiful scene where it's like the sound, every movie, every time I see it at the silent screen, it always gets me.
Yeah.
You see him, he's yelling, they can't say anything, and they're all laughing and giggling, just fucking psychopaths, So she's just bursting into flames, getting all burned up, and he's screaming, and you can't see anything, but you just hear the music playing, playing through. And of course they all leave. He's able to free himself from his his barbed wire chains around his mouth. He's fucked up. He goes he pulls the bag away, he picks up her head, and while he's looking at her, the wind blows and and just the ashes, just her skull collapses in his hands. It's a really fucked up, beautiful but fucked up scene, with all the colors and everything. It's I feel was it the Aurora Lights? The whole movie is like that. But it's so crazy because like there's one scene
Like
in the movie.
Aurora Borealis.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah. So like they have this whole thing. It's like there's one scene in the movie, two scenes in the movie where they take acid. But it doesn't make up for the rest of the movie because the rest of the movie feels like you're on acid. You know, it's like what the fuck's the whole beginning? Like when they're all just like, you see like Nicolas Cage and his wife and his girlfriend or whatever. They're just like kind of laying there. They have this very simple life.
Yeah, they're the recluse.
So like, listen, like, we don't need anything. We just need each other. We'll just eat our cheap food and we'll just fuck in the woods or whatever.
That part made me sad.
Yeah.
Like, just thinking of that, being that close to someone and losing them.
Mm-hmm.
That part made me sad. As we go on, as we finish this up and wrap this up, first of all, I'd like to make one correction. Richard Brake was the chemist. He wasn't Jeremiah. Jeremiah was played by Linus Roche, which that was a mistake I made, and I apologize. First of all, I'll give my Uncle Boris thoughts here.
Go ahead. Well, I've a lot more to say about what I was saying, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
Speak, motherfucker, speak.
First of all, I'll give my thoughts, and then I'll let Rig take over here. This movie failed as far as I think I was expecting too much out of this film, and I think that I had such high expectations because of what I heard online.
Yeah.
And saw that they had a big name like Nicolas Cage. No disrespect to Nicolas Cage as an actor, but I don't think this fit his cup of tea. I think this was very... this film had me thinking that it was going to be something else, and it was something completely different. But that's just my thoughts. Now, Rig, go ahead and continue.
So, just to go back into the film a little bit, so you have so this whole movie starts off as like a bad acid trip. She gets killed, but now he's going to go. This is when like the movie actually gets good. Mm-hmm. After she gets killed, like it's so crazy. Like here's just like this awful death scene, but that actually brings the movie together.
Right.
So now Nicolas Cage, he does this whole thing where he like, I have not the slightest clue how he knows this guy, but he goes to this trailer, knocks on the door, and some guy's like, what are you here for?
Right.
And he opens the door, he's, oh, you, gotcha. And like, okay, I need a crossbow. And like, okay, like, this will kill anybody. And I'm like,
didn't
what the
he
hell?
call it the Reaper?
It might be like the Reaper. That's pretty much like he kind of is.
And it was Bill Duke who was in the trailer. He played on Predator.
Yep. But anyway, so he goes in there and he gets that, and he goes and somehow I have no idea how he does it, but he welds this axe that's like straight out of like Spawn or some shit, He just like has like this crazy axe. So he goes on a rampage, and he starts off like this guy, the guy that lives in the trailer, is like, listen, like these people, no one knows who they are. They know there's a bike gang, and they've been doing it for like years and years and years. They've been killing everybody. So. You have to go here, and this is where they hide out at. So, of course, he goes and he kills the first main biker guy, which I thought was supposed to be like the alpha male. But he instantly shoots him with a crossbow and then hits him with his truck. Kills this guy. Kills his truck. And then, he goes to the rampage. He goes into the thing. They go into the hideout where they're making the acid, and this biker king is living there. He ends up beating the shit out of one biker. He doesn't kill him, which you always... This is one people always fail this, this scene. Like, they always fail in these movies. Like, you have to make sure everyone's dead. If you have a killer, if you watch this killer come to your house, take your girlfriend, burn her alive in front of you, and you knock him out, kill him. He's going to kill you. You can't knock him out and walk out of the room. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then so. They do this whole thing where he goes and he goes there and fights this other guy and kills the chemist guy and kills the other biker. He kills the whole gang, and then once Call comes back in there, and while he's like walking out of this this acid house, this drug house where these bikers live at, they have this. He walks past, he sees. It looks like that guy got raped to death.
Yeah,
it did. Like he's like, here's the fat guy with the curly hair is laying there with his ass hanging out, all bloodied up. I'm like, oh God, the fuck! I guess that's their sacrifice. I thought it was basically kind of like satanic cult where they're gonna like kill and like drink his blood. They just like, no, we'll just kill him, but we'll get this girl, but we gotta give us somebody we can kill and do what we want with. I'm like, that's fucked up. And so it was such a weird scene.
Right.
So then Of course, he goes and he kills, slowly kills everybody, the whole rest of the cult. And then he has the epic chainsaw battle where the one guy's got the chainsaw. It's almost like a whose dick's bigger. Like he has his little chainsaw, he can't start it, and the one guy pulls out this gigantic chainsaw. They fight and they end up knocking that guy on top of it and it kills him. But yeah, so pretty much like he goes in and kills everybody, and then he gets to Jeremiah, and Jeremiah cries like a little girl, and he kills Jeremiah, and that's the end of the movie. You know, there's no like. It's almost like, is there really the devil involved,
Right.
or is it just like,
Or is it just hallucination?
are they just like is it just tripping? Or is it just a bad acid trip? Like what exactly happened? Are they actually Satanists? Do they make this like? No, I think they're just like psychopaths that are high as shit on acid,
Tripping on acid all the time.
methamphetamines or whatever the fuck they're on. This biker gang, I think it's just like Roy. It's almost like another cult itself. It's almost like they're just like just like killers. That they have like some kind of like this group. They're just like, oh, we'll get somebody for you. What's gonna cost you one of your own?
Right.
It's like this constantly. It's like these two terrible groups constantly feeding each other. Through violence.
Right. Right.
And then you have, he of course he goes and kills everybody. So the movie really just takes it's just like I don't know, man. Huge letdown.
Right.
Not gonna understand why it didn't make that much money in the box office.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think this movie, I looked into it when I made my pick. I was like, man, I've been hearing a lot of buzz about this film, Rig. Why don't we check it out? And unfortunately, I fell flat this time. No disrespect to the cast, though, and the crew that, tried to put a movie together. Sometimes I go on my Uncle Boris rants, like on some episodes, but I'm not going to completely, take a shit on this one. I appreciate the effort, but it just wasn't the film for me.
Yeah, for sure, man. It just, I felt like it could have been so much more. They could have just, less artsy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like artsy fartsy stuff, but not in that type of movie. You know what I mean?
No, this was almost like throwing it right in your face, right away.
Yeah, it's like spoon fed or force fed. You know what I mean? It's just like constant. Like there could have been a couple of scenes in there where just to go back real quick. A few weeks ago we did What Keeps You Alive,
Right.
which has some artsy fartsy scenes in it. Perfectly put
That
in
was
there.
done well.
So done well. Like the whole color, like the whole when it goes to the whole blood spatter thing when they're doing the whole investigation when she's looking for the blood with the black light. And then it kind of transitions into the other scenes with the black light color. That was beautifully done. And the sound screaming that, beautifully done. But this movie just it's when something's oversaturated, it's not gonna work out. It's just too much. It's just way too much shit, like artsy fartsy shit in there.
Right.
And then I understand that you have you do such a good job with this whole trip, this acid trip, and then it's almost like once it go to stop. Is this one badass trip the entire movie? Does it ever finish? You know what I mean? But anyway, that's all I can think about the movie.
Right.
You got anything else you want to say about it?
I think I've, explained my case on why I wasn't a big fan of this film, but to the people that are the fans of this film and watching this, just keep in mind, I mean, everybody's going to have an alternating opinion. I mean, not everything that Rig and I cover are going to be great. I mean, this is all part of being a fan of horror. You try anything. You watch anything you want to, try to decipher and try and figure out the symbolism of these films and the synopsis and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's all part of the game. And, I mean, I pride myself in being a huge horror movie fan, and Rig as well, and that's why we started this whole thing. And if you guys want to communicate with us on why you think this film deserves more credit than what we have given it, feel free to give your platform and tell us what you think.
Yeah, go ahead. If you watch this on YouTube, comment below. And then if you see this, if you hear us talk about it, you can just even DM us on Slasher or Instagram, either or, one of us. Let us know what you think.
Right.
Or what maybe we're being too harsh on this movie. But anyway, listen. Make sure you check out. We have 3 shows all together. So this is within the podcast. We also have the Corpse Corner, our interview podcast, and then we also have our special Grindhouse, the Grindhouse Diner from Hell. So make sure you check out all those shows. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button.
We need them, guys.
But we need them. You guys, please let us know. And if you know anybody's into this kind of stuff, or just please pass it on. Spread the love. In the world state, the state the world's in right now, we need more love.
Right.
So keep it up, guys, and we really appreciate just all the feedback we get from the show, and people we have some followers and stuff. So we really do appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for being our fans and coming back week to week as we present our podcast to you.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, I'm Ricky Mortis.
And I'm Boris Lagosa.
We'll be seeing you guys soon. I'll see you. Bye.